Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Notes from the Pastor Cave. And we're doing it right from the Pastor Cave today. And first of all, I wanted to say thank you to everybody. In just a couple of weeks, we are now up over 80 subscribers. And somebody keeps reminding me I need to keep asking for subscriptions. So we're up over 80. The more we can get, the more the algorithm works very nicely, the more people get to see these notes. So please encourage people that you know to subscribe. Go on YouTube, subscribe to Notes from the Pastor Cave, and it would be just very much appreciated. And it will just to help spread what we're doing here. With so many negative things. This really helps us to kind of move along in a very positive direction. We've been in Exodus chapter 3, and we've been in the encounter that Moses has with God in the burning bush, and I kind of broke it up into four very quick points here. The first one is that Moses seems to encounter something natural. So the first thing he sees is a burning bush, which is something that could be seen at any particular time in a dry desert. That something might be catching on fire. But then, the point that we made from that is that we don't want to discount God speaking in the natural world. Sometimes we're kind of sitting around waiting for something supernatural to happen when God is actually speaking to us through the natural world with something that's going on. I'm not going to get along heavily into these former points here. And then the second thing that happens is that he turns aside to see what appears to go beyond the natural. He turns aside to see what appears to go beyond the natural. And the point that I brought up there was simply this, that if Moses had lost his curiosity, if he did not have curiosity about him, curiosity is a real driver in human nature. Even in the idea of relationship with God, curiosity. What more does God have? What more does God want to do? What's God going to do in 2021? I'm very excited actually about what God's going to do in this upcoming year, and I usually am at the beginning of the year. So that natural curiosity gives God an in the life of Moses. So, instead of Moses wandering off in the opposite direction, he actually turns aside to see what's going on here. And then the new points for today. The first one is that God speaks from what Moses now understands to be a supernatural phenomenon. Okay, so once Moses actually gets to where it is, of course, then God begins speaking, and Moses now understands that this is something that started out appearing to be like the natural, but is actually supernatural, and that can actually happen in our lives too, right? I was just in a certain place and I wandered into a church service. Well, that would be a very natural thing. It was a Friday night or a Sunday morning or something like that. And then God did some amazing thing in my life. Well, that's really the exact same process. Or I thought I was just going to go for a walk by myself, but while I was going for a walk, all very natural, God spoke something into my life. This encounter with what he thinks is the natural is actually an encounter with the supernatural. But what I really wanted to spend the most time on, and my hands are so dry this time of year, I can't even get the note cards apart here. The fourth part is that the purpose of the supernatural now becomes clear as God speaks. And part of that is to understand that God never does just kind of some prestidigitation. He never just creates a supernatural phenomenon just for the fun of it, or just to wow everybody. Okay, there's always meaning and purpose behind supernatural events, things that God does that go beyond the natural, God doesn't do things just to show off. He doesn't need to do that. Okay, so the purpose now becomes clear, and it's twofold. The first is it's for the calling of Moses, okay, which is important, and then number two, it's going to start the action. It's going to start the action of hope and deliverance. Okay, so the supernatural encounter starts two things going on here. Okay, the first thing is that it's for the calling of Moses. This is really as an encouragement to Moses. You know, I mean, God could have chosen a thousand different ways to speak into the life of Moses, to have him begin to move in this direction in his life. But he does it in this supernatural encounter kind of way, because Moses, no matter what he encounters from here on out in his life, and he is going to encounter some challenges like you and I probably will never face, no matter what he faces, no matter what he's got to face down, no matter what he's got, he's going to have these encounters with Pharaoh, who technically could kill him if he wanted to. But no matter what happens from here on out, Moses will always be able to remember this moment in time. He's going to remember when he saw a bush that burned but was not consumed, and he's going to be able to remember that God spoke to him, had a conversation with him right out of the middle of that bush. And that's gonna stay with Moses for the rest of his life, and it's gonna be very important to him for the rest of his life. He can, no matter how bad things are going, he can always look back and say, "Hey, I remember when God called me to do this, and it was just this amazing supernatural thing that nobody else has ever dealt with before." And then, of course, that leads to something. And what that leads to is that this is the beginning of Moses being the instrument of deliverance for the Israelites out of Egypt. Okay, so first of all, he starts the process of hope. Okay, so he brings the message of hope into the situation. He goes to the Israelites, says, "Hey, the bad times are done. The bad times are over. God is going to deliver you from this oppression. It's going to happen." And so his voice becomes the voice of hope into the lives of the Israelites. And then second of all is the deliverance itself. He now becomes the instrument through which God is going to deliver an entire nation full of people. So now it comes into full view exactly what God has just done here in a couple of verses. And it is we are on the verge of a new year here. This is New Year's Eve of 2020, going into 2021, and look for those opportunities. Look for the opportunities to bring hope into the situations of other people's lives, and then look to be the instrument of that deliverance. Don't just bring the message of hope. Bring the deliverance too. And maybe God is calling you to be the whole package, just as he called Moses to be the whole package, because we are just as much, if we are in relationship with Jesus Christ, we are just as much the messengers and the instruments of God as Moses was. And so keep that in mind as we go into 2021. I hope you have a wonderful New Year's Eve and a wonderful New Year. Vita brevis gloria aeterna. Life is short. Glory is eternal. Have a great day, and God bless.